Yesterday, ku-Facebook, lapho engingene khona mina, I saw we had 1,000 views, YouTube 103. Of interest to me, I got some people greeting. Remember yesterday evening, I said if there are people who are coming in for the first time and those who are outside Zimbabwe, just show your presence so that we can welcome you. There is somebody who viewed from Zambia yesterday. There is somebody who was in Australia and someone in the USA. Thank you so much for attending yesterday. I hope you are there even today. As we begin our meeting tonight, I would pray that the Lord blesses you once again. It's going to be a very interesting topic. But before we get there, we will ask Pastor S. Pofu, our Stewardship Director in South Zimbabwe Conference, is leading us in prayer. May I hand this time over to him.
Thank you, Pastor Swanda, for the time. We are going to consider a text from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 10. The NIV reads, "If the axe is dull and its edge unsharpened, more strength is needed, but skill will bring success." The Good News Bible says, "If your axe is blunt and you don't sharpen it, we have to work harder to use it. It is more sensible to plan ahead." That's our text. Trying to do anything without the necessary skills or tools is like chopping wood with a dull axe. And if your tool is dull, the Bible says you should try and sharpen it in order to do a better job. The reason why we are here this week is to try and sharpen our skills so that we do our businesses more effectively in these conditions that we find ourselves in. And sharpening the axe means that we should do that through training and through practice. And that is why we are being sharpened this week. And we need to surround ourselves with people who will sharpen us. As Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17 says, "Iron sharpens iron." So we are here to be sharpened so that we become more effective. The last part of the verse says wisdom. Other part says wisdom is very, very important because wisdom will bring success. Wisdom puts a man in the right way, doing things that are right, and directs him to take the best methods and pursue the best ways and means of doing those things. And I'm so glad that we have been sharpened. So far, we have learned about the VMV, we have learned about the stop, we have learned about the difference between advertising and marketing, and we realized that most of us were just advertising instead of marketing. And you realize that there's a difference between hunting and fishing, and most of us have been hunters and not fishermen. And want to thank the facilitators so far that have given us these skills, sharpening our axe. As I end, I want to quote from Abraham Lincoln. He said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." I pray that the Lord will help us as we're going to be sharpened And after the sharpening, we do our businesses with very good skill, and we do our businesses with terrible expertise that will see us excelling. May the good Lord help us as we begin our meeting. Let's bow our heads as we pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, want to thank you this evening for yet another opportunity to come before the throne of grace. Want to thank you, dear Heavenly Father, for affording us this opportunity to be sharpened so that we may do our business in a better way. We thank you for opportunities like this, and we pray, dear Heavenly Father, that after having learned whatever we've learned, we may put this into practice. Be with our facilitator today. Touch him so that he may deliver everything that he has prepared for us. Thank you, dear Heavenly Father, for this opportunity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Mbofu, for that inspiring thought. It was really another eye-opener to know that pastors know what it takes for lay people to do their business in a manner that shows that they have been sharpened. Thank you so much. EsiNdebeleni kulamazwi athi mehlo mangaki. That's a kind of a game, a little game, mehlo mangaki. Bese uphendula uthi mabili. Then the person who has asked will go on and say, ubonani.
Only JP.
Let me quickly, I still have 5 minutes to introduce our speaker. With the question and this little game I've put forth, I'm reminded of a similar story that talks of isihlahla somtswiri, the ironwood, those who know it. It is said that 3 mature logs of ironwood found themselves under the possession of 3 different individuals. I almost said men. You can put men if you want. The first person, when he saw this log or this big trunk, he quickly said, awuhlupho lwami lomqando kaJuni ka-2020 seluphelile. Wahudulela isigodo lesi ngekhaya, and he made a lasting bonfire that lasted him throughout the whole month. Warmed himself. Ethathe siyachitha umlotha kubhukutsha inkukhu labodonki until that tree trunk was finished. The second one must have been a farmer. He saw a very powerful corner post. Hamba wayagebhela isigodo sekhoneni sokudonsa ucingo. It is said that day in and day out that corner post stood there, even outlived the productivity of the land. Bathutha bachiya lokho sisekhoneni khona phaya. The third mtswiri tree found itself in the hands of a sculptor, who, when he looked at that old dry log, saw a face or an image of a given very prominent president of a prominent country overseas, and carved out of that log that picture. Maybe it was in Victoria Falls, because that's where they like doing that. And when tourists came, they picked that particular sculpture, all the way it found itself flying across seas, high up there, and finally landed in the very country where the president was. And the president took it into a very conspicuous corner within the mansion for it to be seen and admired every time by those who visited. So my question, Mehlo Mangagu Bonani, is trying to say when COVID-19 came and suddenly crossed your path, what are you seeing in your business opportunities since then? Because what your business becomes as a result of the visit of COVID-19 may take one of the three trees that I've mentioned. Our topic today is business opportunities under the new normal. Business opportunities in the new normal. I'm excited that today we have a young person who, instead of crying about everything and anything, has in front of him his own tree of umtswiri. And today he wants to share with us the opportunities that we can tap even under the prevailing circumstances. This is nobody other than Bume Ndiwene, an upcoming business person who, if I had enough time, I would tell you where he has been, what he has done. In the shortness of venturing into the business world, he is so enthusiastic and so venturing, he is exploring the opportunities even of the COVID-19. Welcome to the podium. May the good Lord bless you as you take us through picking up opportunities in the new normal. The podium is yours. God bless you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Fundisi. Good evening, everybody. It is a privilege to present to you, not as a Fundi, but as a fellow sojourner with all of us. And the way that I would like to present this session will be interactive. I would want us to all interact as we present the opportunities. Let's engage on them so that we get that holistic view of the opportunities as they come through. Allow me to begin by sharing the presentation that I had prepared, cognizance of the fact that if we are dealing with the business opportunities, that effectively means we are dealing with the outliers on the normal curve of the general population. I think we will all agree that not everybody is a business person. You need others are builders, others are office people. There are people that do finance and so forth and so on. So not everybody is a business person, and the business people are outliers of the general population, which largely is that of employees. So I've structured the presentation to cater for both, to provide the opportunities and also give a foreword for employees who have been affected by COVID. Because COVID is here, we all accept that it has changed how we do our day-to-day business. So I will just share my presentation with you now, and begin off by firstly offering a disclaimer. This is essential that we first put a disclaimer that firstly, the content to be provided is for informational purposes only. Therefore, you should not construe it as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing to be shared constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by myself to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments. Secondly, all content is information of a general nature and does not address the circumstances of any individual or entity. Nothing in the content constitutes professional and/or financial advice, nor does any information constitute a comprehensive or complete statement of the matters discussed or the opportunities relating hereto. Therefore, you alone assume the sole responsibility of evaluating the merits and risks associated with the use of any information provided herein before making any decision based on the information provided. By proceeding, therefore, with the meeting, you agree not to hold myself, affiliates, or any third-party service provider liable for any possible claim for damages arising from any decision you make based on information we shall avail. So I think those in the legal fraternity may understand why this is essential, because we are sharing what we perceive as opportunities, and therefore people may actually want to implement. Therefore, it is critical that we issue the disclaimer before we share the opportunities. Now, getting straight into the topic of today, business opportunities in the new economy. And interestingly, Mfundisi, he used an illustration of a tree, which is it's contained in the book 3 Keys to Successful Living, which broadly speaks of perspective. The 3 people had access to a tree and they used it in their 3 separate ways. So in the same context, if you look at the picture that you have in front of you, it depends what you see. One can see a leaf that has got a drop of water at the end. Another person can actually see the earth as the globe being held by something. Another person may see a fishing rod. It all depends on your perspective. So we begin by speaking of perspective. And where else do we start? Can we start besides in the Bible to speak of perspective? Numbers 18, the children of Israel sent spies to go and search out the land. On returning, the spies have this feedback. That's verse 27. Then they told him and said, "We went to the land where you sent us. It truly flows with milk and honey, and this is the fruit. Nevertheless, the people who dwell in the land are strong, the cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Anak there, the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and so forth and so on." So you've got a contingent that went to see the same thing. They come back, they acknowledge that they've seen good fruit. They also identify that there is a large people that are strong that is in there. The result, you have one Caleb in verse 30 who says, "Therefore let us go up at once and take possession." So perspective is everything, dearly beloved. Even in the midst of COVID, perspective is everything. Do you see the giants of COVID, or you see the fruit that has come through? I'll take you through the impact that COVID has had on us. A World Bank Outlook report that was done on the 8th of June, 2020, looking at the global outlook during the COVID pandemic, identifies and says 5.2, the global economy is going to suffer 5.2% contraction. And we will experience the largest per capita contraction globally since 1870. This is the biggest per capita contraction in modern history due to COVID. This is real, resulting in the deepest global recession in decades. The result is investment losses. On your right, this is actually pulled this off the internet during the course of the week, is a list of restaurants in South Africa, Gauteng, who have said they are closing permanently. The number goes up to 87 just in Johannesburg alone. There are so many statistics, employment losses all around, foreclosures. I look at a report from First Rand, bad debt is up 150%. The investment losses are huge. The economies have been battered. The human capital erosion, people have lost jobs. People have not been economically active. As a result, there's been human capital erosion. Because of the lockdown measures that were taken by the different countries, this has resulted in the fragmentation of global trade. We are now a global society where we source our raw materials from anywhere in the world and process them anywhere and supply and sell anywhere. The moment any channel is disrupted, that fragments global trade. And as a result, supply linkages were disrupted. Now, dearly beloved, this is real. This is what we are facing. And anybody active in these business lines or in business at this particular moment in time will attest to the effect of this. I remember when we actually went under lockdown, it was at a time when in one of our projects, we were just harvesting for sale. The crop was ready to go to market and suddenly lockdown, everybody must social distance. That was a reality that we had to deal with. But it was up to us how we responded to it. We could have carried our hands on our heads and cried. But actually, we took that as an opportunity. And through that, we launched our first home delivery service, just to take advantage of the situation, because the problem was there. We had to deal with it and come up with a solution. Now, also part of the COVID impact, as much as you've got this list that you have on your right of restaurants that have closed, which does not show all the other companies that have actually been impacted. An interesting statistic comes up. The richer have actually become even more richer. Elon Musk, during this COVID pandemic, his net worth has gone up by 55%. Jeff Bezos, his has gone up by 38%. That was him adding $25 billion during this period to his net worth. Now, dearly beloved, it's all about perspective. The fundamentals remain the same. As the presenter said, who actually started us off, the fundamentals have not changed. It is all about perspective. Do you see giants or do you see fruit? In the same period where we are listing businesses shutting down and closing, you've got individuals who are adding billions to their net worth, showing business appreciation. So we need at this point, as we proceed, to accept one thing, dearly beloved, which I therefore provide and submit as business opportunity number one. COVID has given us an opportunity to push the button fail. The first business opportunity that COVID has given us, there are many projects, many companies, many businesses, investments that we've been doing pre-COVID that have been struggling. We've put in a lot of resources into them. We have changed strategies. We have done all manner of business reengineering, but they continue to struggle. COVID, dearly beloved, has given us an opportunity to push that button, to say this business has failed. I must therefore terminate it. That's the first opportunity that comes through. Because the new cannot take form as long as the old is still there. Yes, as business people, we want to hold on and say, this may work, this may, but we know if something is not working, it is not working, dearly beloved. And COVID has given us an opportunity as the new economy is unraveling, for us to push that button and close the projects, the businesses that are not working, so that we can then focus on new projects. The whole essence of why we're in business is to solve a problem. Opportunities emanate from problems. We are trying to solve a problem. So take this opportunity for COVID to allow you and your team to say, guys, let's step back and ask yourself, in this new economy, in this present environment of COVID, what problem are you really solving now? You need to ask yourself, this is not an emotional question. This will be a very sober question to ask yourselves. What problem are you solving? What problem is your business solving? If it is not solving any, if it is hoping to solve a future problem, the time may come that you may want to terminate it. The fundamentals, as we've said, have not changed. The 3 steps that have always been still subsist today. Number 1, we need to solve a problem. After you have identified a problem and you are working to solve it, the next thing that you need to work with is you need to be known that you are solving that problem. And that is your marketing, that is your sales. Getting the word out that you are solving this problem that you have identified. And the third thing is definitely you need to be affordable to the people whose problem you are solving. More so during this COVID era, where incomes have been battered, where people have been unemployed. So you've got a populace globally that is now leaning more on lean consumption. So if you're solving a problem, does it provide affordability for your target market? The first problem, dearly beloved, that has come through due to COVID, which then offers an opportunity, is the global trade and supply chain has been disrupted. That then presents a problem. Because if I used to source my raw materials from area X, move it to area Y, and supply it in area Z, that has been disrupted. Countries were put on lockdowns. Some have opened, some have not. So that immediately presents an opportunity for logistics. And you are looking at tech solutions, you're looking at warehousing. The global environment has been disrupted. You have a lot of protectionism that's going on. We know America First, that has already been happening. We know the Make in India, Make in China, close by. We've got Buy South Africa First. Botswana, you know, I mean, Botswana has actually come through and said the confectionery bakery industry is reserved for locals. The internal logistics trucking business also is reserved. So you've got a lot of fragmentation that has happened. And we cannot run away from the fact that we are now a global village. So there's tech solutions that need to be found. But again, there's a caution they have said before in other forums to say the stability that's going to be there in people coming up with tech solutions or technology based solutions is going to result in a lot of losses. Pioneers, that's what happens with pioneering. A lot of losses are going to come through before these industries begin to consolidate and bring back investments. Due to the fragmentation of global trade, definitely there's going to be a need of warehousing. Case in point, if in Botswana, for example, if no trucker who's coming out of Botswana can drive through, that means that they need to offload somewhere. That offers opportunities for warehousing. Same problem is coming up also as well in Zimbabwe, in Zambia as well. So this is going to offer opportunities for warehousing. And now, because we are moving into this type of protectionist environment in the short term, that opens up opportunities for manufacturing within the local economies for import substitution, because it's going to make it expensive for you to move goods from one place to the next. So if you can manufacture local, you'll actually have an added advantage. And may I state at this point that the manufacturing that's actually going to have traction is one that is downstream, which is consumer facing. And on consumer facing, we are not looking at products that address wants. You are largely going to get demand for products that address needs. So there is going to be opportunities for import substitutionary manufacturers who address needs, remembering that the economy is now directed towards lean consumption, which means you now have a customer who spends time to look at what they are buying and why they are buying it. It has to be affordable. It has to give them their value for money. That is what the global trade and supply chain disruption is presented as opportunities in logistics and manufacturing. Because of the disruption, the food supply chain has been disrupted, presenting an opportunity for laughing stock. The agribusiness value chain, which already in an African context has already been muted as the big thing. However, where the opportunities are going to be are in the value chain. Yes, there will be primary agriculture, but that is not where most of the opportunities will be, because agriculture, farming specifically, is a game of scale. Very few people have the capacity to actually engage in a successful commercial farming activity. So opportunities will occur in the value chain, in the agriculture value chain, be it processing of that produce, moving that produce, selling that produce, or coming up with technologies. Coming up with technologies within the agribusiness value chain. This is where the opportunity is going to come through, to augment the disruption in the food supply chain. The next problem that has obviously come through is by virtue of businesses closing, people losing their jobs. There is human capital erosion that has occurred. People that stopped working in as 6 months back or even more. And a new economy is forming. That means that most will not know what to do in the new economy, because the skills that they possess were tailor-made for the previous economy, for the old economy. So this is going to give an opportunity for reskilling, coming up with new technicons, coming up with new curriculums to provide a new labor force.
already there was discussion about the fourth industrial revolution, robotics. We will have more of those. So this offers an opportunity for service providers, if you're already in the education space, if you're already in the human development space, to already start looking at that, because the economy is definitely going to shift. And a lot of our people need to be reskilled. We'll need to tap into that. The most obvious of problems, which COVID has given, is cash. People have not been gainfully employed during the pandemic. Companies have closed down. Those that have been able to remain standing most have been using their balance sheet and their cash reserves. So the cash problem is presenting opportunities for financing reorganization, because people are going to come back needing to be funded. Businesses are going to come back needing to be funded. This is going to offer an opportunity. And definitely because of the technological development, the future being and the present being digital, we'll have a lot of fintech going on. Now, we must also understand that the fragmentation of the global economy is also fragmented global capital. I was reading, I think it was The Economist, where JP Morgan is said to be moving 230 billion from the UK to Frankfurt. So you will have a scenario where domestic capital markets are what is going to drive the economies forward. So there's going to be opportunities in the domestic capital markets. And because of the falling the economies and a lot of uncertainty as to where most of the activities are going to come through, a lot of people are going to hedge, especially through precious metals. We may have a sustained period where gold may actually remain at quite good figures, because people will be moving, those that have cash and are not sure of the investments that are coming through, maybe moving their money into those type of assets. And then finally, for those who are not in business, we have lost jobs. COVID has also given us an opportunity to reskill. This is an opportunity to sit down and look at your skill set. Is it still relevant in the new economy? The tech is definitely way ahead in the pack. We may start needing to pick up some of those tech skills. Basic tech skills, because a lot of your social sciences type of skills will be rendered redundant over time by tech. So we may want to look at actually looking at tech. We may also want to look at focusing our skills on problem solving type of vocations. Moving away from the management type, because now we are moving to a period where tech is going to do a lot of management for us. So the skill that is going to be needed most is problem solving. First principles type of skills. So you may want to look into that. You may want to look into that if you've lost a job. Take this opportunity to reskill. So the pandemic opportunities summarized, specifically looking at the problems, look at opportunities that solve the global trade and supply chain problem. Look at opportunities in the food supply chain. Look at opportunities in the human capital erosion. Look at opportunities in the finance industry. And obviously, for those that have lost a job, it's an opportunity to re-engineer yourself and do something else. Over and above all of this, ladies and gentlemen, brethren, the fundamentals still have not changed. We still need to solve a problem for you to be viable in the business. You will still need to market. You will still need to be known to solve this problem. And after you are able or you have marketed, you need to be affordable. You need to be affordable for us to remain in business. That is a phase that every business person likes to get. If you're getting the full price for the solutions that you're bringing. So this is here wishing you all to tap into the opportunities that are there. Tap into the opportunities that have been presented. Your perspective is what will set apart everybody. Do you see opportunities or you see problems? Maximize on them. At this point, I would like to open the floor on Foodies to engage on these problems and opportunities that I've presented.
Go ahead. You might want to handle it in a given way, like what opportunities do we see, so that we brainstorm and give more of those from the floor, or you might want to pose some questions, what threats they are seeing. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. I think let's start off with the first set of opportunities that we spoke about. All right, I think if you look at your screens at the bottom left, there's a picture that shows the movement of raw materials to suppliers, to manufacturers, then distributed to customers. And we've said this has been disrupted. How best, in our view, can we take advantage of this? I've already suggested logistics through tech and warehousing. What are your thoughts on that? This is open to the floor. What does the floor think? I see Sihlobo Moyo. Yes, he's raised hands. Please take the floor, sir.
Okay, so I was looking at this presentation.
Sihlobo, go ahead.
Okay, I was saying I was looking at this presentation, and I think it's a well-presented presentation, and it's something of interest to myself. So what I've realized, especially in the issues, I was looking at the people you presented.
He seems to be talking. Can you unmute yourself?
I'm actually unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes, your hand is up. Go ahead, but you are very, very faint.
Okay.
Yeah. Try to get closer.
Okay. So what I was saying is the subject matter, I think it was well presented. But what I wanted to add on to what he's saying here about all the opportunities that come out of COVID is if you look at the people he mentioned in the first place, he talked about people like Mark Zuckerberg and people like Jeff Bezos are people who have got businesses which are based online. You'll understand that in the post-COVID, you do not want to interact with touch. You do not want that normal interaction that we are used to, where we have to go to people and we get them into a certain group and we start interacting like on a one-on-one basis, which involves direct contact. So when you talk about things such as the global supply chain problem and all these manufacturing things, you will realize that over time, during this COVID-19, there are applications and people who were delivering food stuff. I think you've heard of things such as Uber and things such as these multiple delivery ways. So you'll understand that if you want to tap into that opportunity, even the capital that you need to solve this problem is not much, because it's simply a matter of being able to deliver goods from point A to point B. I think he mentioned that he owns a business where they were harvesting at a certain point in time, and then suddenly it was COVID and they're not allowed to go. The story was said. So you understand that by him tapping into that logistics and supply chain, it has allowed him to build a business where he is able to give to people things from the comfort of their homes. Earlier on during the day, there was a poll which was put up on Twitter where they were asking, how safe do people feel? Since they are from the side I am in, we are now on level 1, and they're asking, are they willing to go out and to do things and to mingle? And most people were saying they are not free to go out as usual. So you understand that this brings about this opportunity for you to say, okay, now you want something which is 300 kilometers away from you, but you do not want to go out of the comfort of your home. So what do I do for you? In this side of town, you discover that there are trucks that carry goods between countries. So what they do is they leave one country at a certain time, and they arrive in another country at another time. And the charges they are saying, of course, they're not affordable, but they are making a lot of money because these people are tapping into this logistics thing. So I think most of the things that he identified are really the things that we really need. And maybe because my internet is going to go off soon, there is also another, I think, opportunity, especially in human capital development in the areas of specialty. I think most people I see here are people who specialize in certain subject matters. You'll understand that our because schools have been shut down for a period of 6 months, if not more, most people want to cover that gap that has not existed in the past 6 months. So you see, if you are an accountant, you can offer accounting lessons to people who want to become accountants. If you are a pastor, you can offer those bridging lessons to people who want to become pastors and everything. So it's one of those opportunities that has arisen because there is this need to cover 6 months within the last 3 months of the year. So it's one of those businesses that I noticed that are really beginning to boom here and there, especially if you know what the subject matter that person wants entails. I think that's basically my contribution.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much, Moyo. And I think what you say is correct. That indeed technology is what is going to lead us in this new economy, and there's a lot of opportunities. Just to give us all some quick statistics, we've got the number of websites worldwide jumped from 863 million websites to 1.8 billion websites as of September 2020. And also we looked at Amazon Prime members, the people that are in the Prime category that actually purchased via Amazon. That number jumped from 100 million members in 2018 to 150 million members in 2020. So definitely the delivery tech space, Logitech, is literally going to get a lot of activity. But I think while it is going to get a lot of activity and has already got a lot of attention, there is also going to be a lot of losses as well, because we also need to accept that in an African context, with disposable incomes already challenged, the last mile delivery service may be expensive. So it may be difficult to actually get as much traction as what in the developed world they've achieved. And actually, as a matter of fact, I was reading another report that actually says over this period, the last mile Logitech actually accounted for just below 20% of the trade that was going on in the developed world. So there is a big market, there is a big opportunity that's there. But at the same time, I would advise caution. I would advise caution as well, because what may work in the developed world in our setup may not work. And we have been doing it, I can tell you from practical experience. We have been trying to do the last mile deliveries within Zimbabwe. The average consumer would rather go to the shop and look for the cheapest product than to actually get the delivery. But not to say let's not do it, but to say, let's be cautious in the approach that we'll approach it. Though the need is there, if we do have the cash flow to be able to sustain the losses, then I think we can go for it. I saw a hand by Mamhlanga.
Yes, thank you very much, Andiweni, for that eye-opening presentation. I'm looking at the gap in terms of, manufacturing locally. Because if you look at our economy, I'm talking from a perspective of Zimbabwe, of course, because when you look at our economy right now, and the trend that has been over the last couple of decades, is that, even the basic raw material for any form of manufacturing, even including food, most of it is being imported. So to see, I'm trying to see how we can be able to say, maximize on that opportunity, because from like it links in very well with what you've just said now, to say the opportunity is there, but when it comes to the resourcing now, and also the capacity of the market to absorb the price that may arise, as a result of having to import all those, materials and try to do them locally. Because when you look at food, the droughts that we have experienced over the last couple of years, the low productivity because of underutilization of land, all of this is contributing to having insufficient raw material food, stuff to use for us to be able to produce. That's why you'll find most of what is going on is mainly retail imports of already processed food materials that is coming from neighboring countries. But how far and how long that will be sustainable, it's something that we really don't know how to predict. So maybe, I don't know if you can give us some insight into what your assessment or what your analysis, is in terms of the capacity of getting the raw materials for us to be able to produce whatever it is that we need, so that we can have that local, replacement of stuff that was being imported, already manufactured.
Maybe let me come in by redirecting the question to say, in light of what Sister Mhlanga has said, let's discuss the opportunities that are availed by that. Now that we are dependent on A, B, C, D, and we have C, E, F, G, what opportunities do we see? Maybe tomorrow somebody will talk about how to jump from and bridge the gap. But today we are saying, in the gloomy picture of COVID-19, can you help us see opportunities? You can go ahead.
All right. I think through the presentation, I actually identified where what Ms. Mhlanga is saying is correct. That we are now sourcing our raw materials from different places. So therefore, you would find a situation where local economies have not managed to develop economies of scale in production of raw materials. Therefore, if we're saying import substitution, focusing on local manufacturing, where are we going to source our raw materials from? So my assessment is where the quick wins are going to come from. I actually gave three characteristics of where to look. Number one, downstream of the manufacturing value chain, which is consumer facing, and which is addressing a need and not a want. So that criteria of downstream, consumer facing, and the need takes us away from specialty manufacturing. We will still need to import equipment. We will still need to import your high-end clothes and so forth and so on. But your basic things, I think Botswana has already given us an example with the baking industry, where they've said all confectionery and baking products are all going to be done by Botswana. Because that's already focusing on the need for the bread, and it can be done locally. And the wheat, yes, there may be question marks on the sourcing of the wheat, but it is something that can be done quickly to be sourced and processed. So if we were to look in that direction, to say, look at your local economy circumstances and see what does the market need now. If you identify what the market needs, the next thing is identify, are they local suppliers of that raw material? Can you source it locally? If you cannot source it locally, you may want to hold on. If you can source it locally, then that may be something that you may actually want to go full steam ahead. So I think largely this will then speak to FCMGs, food. This will also I'm not I'm not sure about clothes. Already, I mean, an example in South Africa, Woolworths has shown Woolworths clothing division performed poorly compared to its food division, that the sales from the food were actually more than those of the clothing direction. So I'm not sure on the clothing direction if we'll get pickup from there, but definitely school uniforms, there's definitely going to be a need there as I mean, in corporate wear as well, as we call. So if you look at that direction, downstream consumer facing and also need-based, I think that is where we may find opportunities. But also, there is a problem that we also need to deal with from the very start, which is, like any other business, you are going to need to sell what you are going to manufacture locally. So you need to have a distinct value proposition that differentiates you from everybody else, so that we avoid a situation where, and this is rampant now, I've used this term several times, the monkey see, monkey do syndrome, where everybody then begins to copy each other, and that drives prices down. That doesn't encourage innovation. That is actually counterproductive. So if you can identify something that is consumer facing, need based, and then come up with a value proposition for it to set you apart from everybody else, I think there will be traction in that direction.
Maybe you would like to check if there are any other people who would like to make some observations.
Okay, I see Mr. Pepe's hand is up. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Pepe.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ndiweni, for your presentation. I'm going to maybe make a general comment on pursuing opportunities that exist when we are in an environment like this COVID environment we are slowly getting out of. When opportunities present themselves, we must not hinder ourselves from pursuing them by trying to take a big bite. If you are going to move into the tech space, don't move into the tech space thinking of becoming the next Zuckerberg. There are small things that we can do, small things that we can start with, and grow our businesses incrementally at the pace that we can afford. If you are going to move into any other space that you want to move into, you can start small. Even if you want to go into food production, start small with your food production and grow whatever it is that you are doing. My experience with people who want to start up new projects is that we always hinder our own progress, our own success by wanting to take a very big chunk, and you want to get in there and compete with people who have already been in there, who have already been doing whatever they've been doing. One good thing with COVID is that it has leveled the playing ground for almost everyone. It's like all of us have to move in and start from ground zero. So our attitude must be that I'm moving in to start afresh with everyone else. There's really no one you can say is ahead of you under this environment, because even big and established companies have had to close down. So we are all starting afresh. Asijahanga lutho, and let's take enough time to plan whatever it is that we want to do, so that by the time we move in and do the right things.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much, Pepe. And totally, this is one of I think in modern history, this is a big opportunity, especially for Africa, to catch up with the rest of the world. Because the rest of the world is also trying to figure out where to go and how to get there. And a lot of infrastructure that was previously used is actually going to go redundant. So as the future is becoming more digital, as the future is becoming more local, that offers an opportunity for Africa to step into that space, as you are rightfully putting it. And the tech space offers that opportunity for us to leapfrog and actually join the rest of the world. Bootstrapping has always been the best approach, because your average business will change its model a minimum 5 times in the first 3 years. So if you go big right from the start, you're definitely pouring that money down the drain. You'll change that model over and over until, which is why if you actually, you'll see that people that are actually in private equity and growth funding, they are specific that they invest in business that have been in business for 5+ years. Because the idea is, by the time you get to year 5, you understand your business model, you've got a clear-cut market and a clear-cut product. Therefore, you are seeking to grow and the business model is set. Before that, you are moving pieces all around. So it will actually be not prudent to go big right from the start. So you're right to say, let's get into it, but bootstrap. And as we bootstrap, I've been saying this as well in other fora, to say cash is king. Cash is king. Accept that no one can come and fund your business. Banks will not be offering, I don't see them offering any debt in the short term, especially seeing that bad debt is up in the manner that it is. So if you are in a business, it needs to generate cash so that you can restock, so that you can run your overheads. So cash will be king. So definitely, as you are focusing on downstream consumer facing businesses that also generate cash, so that you do not, because this is what is going to cripple a lot of people. The inability to generate cash, to be able to restock, and therefore they are also dead in the tracks. But it offers an opportunity for those with capacity, as I've said, in the finance space, with the capacity to finance these entrepreneurs who have got a market but do not have the cash to actually service the orders or try the things that they have. I see here on the charts, I don't know if Mr. Anthony Mbaiwa, you are online. He says he's got a business, he's based in Joburg, and he's helping a lot of people that need to move their goods across. If he's online, maybe he could share with us how the experience has been. Mr. Anthony Mbaiwa? Okay. I think he may have gone off. All right. So, in closure, Fundis, if I may, Abed Dau had this to say when asked about COVID. He says some businesses won't survive, sadly. But luckily, all entrepreneurs will survive. They will survive and they will rebuild. Close quote. So the opportunities, dearly beloved, shall be accessible to those that are ready to build, to those that can convert their lemons into lemonade. Indeed, the global economy is going to be restructured. If you are going to wait, then you'll be building on what somebody else has already done. You are best set to already chart the path and be on your own and start in the opportunity that you see. The biggest secret in getting ahead is to start. Let's not wait, dearly beloved. Let's start. I see my connection is not stable. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can.
Okay, so let's go for it. Let's start. Okay, Bayoa has come through. He says his speaker is not fine, but he has been moving vaccines for cattle ranchers in Zimbabwe. I think this speaks to what Mamshang was speaking about, to say some things will not be found locally. We just have to import them. Anyone else with a comment? Observation, question? Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Nyazwakala.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much, Mkeswa, for that sterling presentation. A number of things that stood out for me. The first one is the one you talked about, business resilience, to say that the businesses that have survived are businesses that have a strong balance sheet and that have cash reserves mainly. And just to say to people, Wuti, a strong balance sheet is not only physical assets in terms of buildings and machinery. A strong balance sheet, one of the assets that we have is our knowledge, our skills as people. We need to understand that intellectual property is also an asset that actually should appear on our balance sheet. So one of our greatest assets is actually our knowledge, our skills, and our talent. And it ties in very well to what you have just said, that businesses will not survive. Some businesses will not survive, but all entrepreneurs will, because the propensity to reinvent themselves will always be there. So I like that, and I really, it resonated with me in terms of how to survive going forward. The second one is in terms of the opportunities that you listed, especially under the food side. I think we need to just look at the fact that in terms of basics, if someone is not growing something in their backyard or ekayagini in your rural piece of land, then you have shortchanged yourself of an opportunity to learn. Because whatever it is that you produce, itamatisi, anyanisi, carrot, anything that you produce, it can actually find a market in Zimbabwe. That's what we have learned over the COVID period. And I like what the Pepe said, that I think it was Pepe, that you don't think of growing big, just start. If you produce a few kilograms and sell them, you already have done the proof of concept, which means you can now multiply and go forward. So we've got the issue on food. We've got the issue, as you talked about, on our own skills and talents. We've got the issue of venture capital, of being able to finance people who are doing okwenziwa ngumbaiwa. And just these people don't need much capitalization. They probably need capitalization, a few $100 or a few thousand rands, just to start themselves up. So specific opportunities do exist, and I think it is for us to take them on. And I like the big picture aspect that you also showed us, that they are the Jeff Bezos, the Bill Gates, they're all those, the Zuckerbergs, but we can also come in at our level and grow into success stories that are comparable to them in our environments. Siyabonga.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ndlovu, for that. I don't know, do we have any farmers amongst us here? Or I'm now overshooting your time, Fundis. I wanted.
Not quite. I think you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Do you have any farmers here? Because I think agribusiness is going to be big. I think even the Africa Development Bank report has spoken to that, and we all agree that. But I think there is also a problem where we may actually push a lot of people into it. So which is why I actually wanted to find out if there are any farmers so they can share their experiences, because we have got a problem where everybody has gone into farming by virtue of that. This was what was left to do after the lockdowns. That then brought two things. First, glut in the market. At each and every corner, you had someone selling tomatoes, selling cabbages and so forth and so on. And I'll give you, because I mean, that space as well, beginning of the year, we're selling, one cabbage at $1 a head. And at this point, I think it's now $1 for 4 heads. But our costs have not gone down. So we need to be very careful again. I mean, as we get into farming, and like as the speakers have also said, the other participants, to say we need to start small so that you first test and see what works and what doesn't. Because I fear that a lot of us are going to rush into agriculture thinking that that is where money will be made, and we'll lose money and we'll end up worse off. So we really need to be prudent in our approach. Nyabonga, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody that gave their time to come and listen here. Thank you for this.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. We are 2 days away from beginning to say, I should have asked, I should have made a point of clarification and all that. We have 10 minutes. What have you picked from today's presentation? What is it that you want elaborated? Is there any gap that you saw in the presentation that you would like to be filled? So far, we are on the 4th day. Is this meeting making any sense? Any comment, any question or observation? We are on the 4th day. Is this meeting making? Let's go ahead. If there are people who have anything to say so far. Fisompofu. There is somebody, Fisompofu. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Can I see your face? You have been in since Sunday up to today. I have a gift for you.
Ah, thank you.
Can I see your face? Can I see your face? Thank you. Just to say something, comment. You have been in for the 4 days, then you get the gift. Are you there? Who's saying that? As she is trying to get herself onto the platform, Noktula Ngwenya, I see something like written Noktula Ngwenya.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, and how are you?
Fine. Any comment? Observation?
I'm actually just coming in. Sorry for being late. It's my first day.
Welcome so much. You are very
Thank you.
welcome. What did you benefit from today's presentation?
I've just come through now. I'm yet to listen.
Okay, can somebody make a comment that will at least give her a tip of what we're enjoying today? Bofu, are you tuned in now?
I'm
Bofu,
back.
okay,
There
go
was-
ahead.
There was a bad connection. Yes, I also liked the fact that it's very important to start small. There's no need initially to try and start on something big, since there is a possibility that as you continue to grow, you may have to change the way that you package your business. So I found that to be quite useful, because the tendency most of the times is that people want to start something very big because they've seen that others are running very big businesses. It doesn't pay. As long as you do not have adequate experience, it's important to start small and to grow your business gradually.
Find your way into getting your present one of these days. I truly have it.
Thank you very much, Pastor.
Yeah, thank you for consistently being there all the days. Anyone else?
I see there's a question from this, I think from Bayo again. He says, we see even farmers have failed because they are under-resourced. I think it's critical for us to understand, and this is very important, that business is a long-term game. Business is a long-term game. Farming, which obviously is business, is a long-term game. So the starting small assists you to start at a lesser cost, but also allows you to grow organically so that you can go the long haul. Our challenge that we have is by virtue of our circumstances, because we have to provide for our families, we want to immediately grow big. I mean, I want to start off with 10 hectares, for example. Get seed for 10 hectares, but is my irrigation system set for 10 hectares? Do I have the staff for that? And then they then start making shortcuts here and there, and rightfully, as he puts it, they fail. But if you started off with your half hectare, see if it works, establish past, I know we like to say, first of all, establish proof of concept, but I like to go a step further and say establish viability of proof of concept. Because something may actually be operational, but it may actually not be viable in the long term. So we want to establish its viability. Yes, it's working. There's a need for people to do this. I'll give you an example. Using our example, our own company, Ezulu Foods. We were, as I said, at shutdown doing deliveries of vegetables, but that was not what we were going for, because there was proof of concept that there was a need for vegetables, but the business was not viable. So, which meant that we did it just to maintain our presence in the marketplace, just to maintain, obviously, to offload the crop that had been harvested. But our focus was on that which we saw, which was viable, which is the processing which we have done, which we are selling. So it is very essential as a farmer or as a business person to ensure, and how do you assess viability? It is your ability to repay your creditors faster, or rather your ability to collect cash from your debtors faster than you need to pay your creditors. Hence the statement, cash is king. So start small, focus on your cash generation. If you are able to generate your cash fast enough to restock, then you may then move to the next stage of attempting to scale up, to grow. Before you get that balance, before you actually get that balance of cash generation and payment of creditors, attempt to be disciplined and not scale up.
Thank you so much. I did a little bit of Hebrew at school. There is somebody who is 1 times, then somewhere it should be Mazibisa because there is MZBS. The hand is up. Where are you trying to try to get in? Unmute yourself. Hello? The person is still muted.
Hello.
Yes.
No,
Welcome.
thank you, Pastor. It's not Mazivisa, it's Anthony Mbaiwa. I've been struggling to just come through. No, the point that I raised is with regards to what Mamhlanga had said, that why is it we continuously import even basics from our neighboring countries, yet we can manufacture those particular items ourselves. But the problem is that it's the resources to get the machinery to produce. Then my question is now that why don't we form companies or come together with same-minded people or same people with the same goals, so that we can get those particular resources? Imagine if we are maybe 30 people coming up together with the same vision, we are able to source any machinery that we may need. Or even if we discuss farming, we can do it. There are many opportunities. CSC has fallen, and I haven't heard anyone who has taken that particular space besides maybe Ombogoto and so forth. But those are the particular opportunities that I'm thinking that if we come together, we can do them. But as individuals, yes, we can do it, but it will take longer, and we may not achieve that in our lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think you have rightfully preempted tomorrow's presentation, where we will talk about partnering.
Yes. Oh, okay. I wanted to speak to a little bit to that, Mfundisi.
Just briefly, as we tie up our yes.
All right. I think I think if you can actually probably find some literature that it has been written extensively on what is called the founders syndrome. Entrepreneurs, by their very nature, are individualistic. They like to control, they like to own. Yes. Which is why they don't work very well in cooperatives. Because by their nature, and this is a problem even when the time comes to scale them up, where they don't let go because they've got, I think just go out on, but the cooperatives are a very effective setup for business. With there's many examples. For example, I mean, your penal societies, already an example. You've got the December grocery clubs, and I know I think it was in Afghanistan where they actually monetized loans for cooperatives by virtue of that common. So in itself, it is a good model, and people need to come together. I think tomorrow's speaker is going to touch on that. But for entrepreneurs, I know cooperatives will never work. They don't want to share. They just want to do everything on their own. Yeah.
Okay, noted.
I like the fact that we are beginning to open up. It's time that is running out. Let me promise you, tomorrow come prepared, so that when it's time for us to come aboard and start discussing and adding value or adding our minds to what we are doing, we put our heads together. For today, allow me to say it was good having you. Maybe before I had almost forgotten. I was tasked by the manager of the publishing director, and I quickly saw our presenter today almost itching to promote the book that was promoted first day. Have you already gotten it? What do you want to say to the rest of the people who haven't gotten it? In a second.
You need to get one. God must need to succeed. You must also need to succeed. You need to get one.
Get one. Our Adventist Book Center has those in stock. Get your own copy. I'm happy you already have gotten it as the presenter and you are speaking to that. I think I've done my work on behalf of the Adventist Book Center as they asked me to. You have made my work easy. May we, as we come to the end of our day today, I would like once again to thank all of you for gracing this occasion. It was nice having you. May the good Lord continue to bless us as we come together. I'm trying to find out somebody I saw here, they might have left, whom I wished could pray for us. Pumulani, are you there anywhere close by? Pumulani?
Yes, I'm there. I'm there, Fundis.
Do you mind praying for us?
No, I don't. Let us pray. Our Father, so loving and so kind, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you even for this meeting. Bless everyone who attended, the presenters for their time researching, and everyone else. How I pray that God, the Holy Spirit, may give us the wisdom to stand the new normal and still praise your name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I'm 1 minute away from being locked off. Our leaders, any of them, would you like to bid us farewell for tonight? Pastor Msimanga, Pastor Masugu, Pastor Choka.
Yes, have a good night of rest, and pray that the Lord will help you to have the right eyes and also to shape your perspective.
Good night. God bless you. Meet tomorrow again, 5 to 6. We are locking in. Invite more friends. Thank you.